What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Rails of Mass. On today's adventure, we're going to pick up right where we left off and begin exploring the Cabot Industrial Spur. Branching off here from what was the Bay Colony Newton branch, we're now heading towards Needham Street on what was the Cabot Industrial Spur. The retail buildings we see ahead are part of a newer development. Most of this was not here when the last train passed through here. The walking path is in the exact spot of the former right-of-way, up until the point of Needham Street. I've been told the crews refer to this area as the Valley, for the sharp curves and steep grades. Thanks to this 1999 photo from John Joyce, we can see just how much this area has changed. Pretty much unrecognizable today. Now continuing east from Needham Street, we reach the point of the sharpest curve on the Bay Colony system. Most of the rail has been torn up in this area, but we still have ties on the ground showing us where the rail once was. Unrecognizable, but you can see the same curve back in 1999 thanks to John Joyce. And thanks to Louis Terlizzi, we get a look at the same angle back in 1976, as this Conrail train makes its way around the curve, leading Caboose forward. Looking back at ground level, we can still see where the rail once was. Now continuing on our way, we're now looking south towards Needham. Now standing at the end of that S-curve. Note that building in the background with that large garage door. Here we see it again in 1999. And if we go back even further to 1976, we can see there was another track here. Just beyond the picnic tables was another switch. The track to the right would have continued to Bay Colony's last customer on this side of Needham Street, Regulate Plastics. The track to the left would have continued to the Needham Industrial Park. We're now looking back towards Needham. And thanks to John Joyce, we can look back in time to the way this spot looked back in 1999. Here we see the same angle in 1999. This was about 2 years before Bay Colony would stop serving this customer. And just 5 years later, Bay Colony would stop serving the other customer left in Newton. Now spinning around, we're now looking towards what was Bay Colony's last customer on this side, Regulate Plastics, and what is now Marshall's. The large building in the background, now home to public storage as well as the Chipotle and other things, is the site of the former customer. Now here in the same location back in 1999, we can see Bay Colony about to pick up a covered hopper here from the customer. The locomotive itself is another thing worth noting. BCLR 1750 was later renumbered 1701. It still exists today, and we're actually going to catch up with it later in another episode. These days the locomotive is in very poor shape, and has an uncertain future, but it's still around, and we can be thankful for that. Well, that's enough talk of the future episodes for now. Let's get back to where we were. When this area was redeveloped, all the track on the very end was either buried or removed. But here in the Marshall's parking lot, we can still see what's left. Although it's been about 25 years since the last train was right here, the spot is still pretty recognizable today. Now that we've taken a look at the plastic spur, we're going to continue on our way. I do know there were more tracks here, but what was here unfortunately was not well documented. Now just beyond what's left of this crossing, I do remember there being a switch here with a small little spur track leading to the right to the left side of this building ahead. I can't find any pictures to prove it, but I'm pretty sure it was there. From here we have a pretty steep descent in grade as we approach Christina Street and the Charles River. Looking closely next to the building, we can see the remains of rotten ties in the ground. The walkway to this building was an added addition after the rail was torn up. The low area is pretty much where the rail once was. The other side of the building, we're now flying over Christina Street and the Charles River Bridge. This is actually the third time we're crossing the Charles River in this series, and it's not the last. As you probably noticed, being a concrete bridge, it's a bit different than the other ones we've looked at so far. Although the concrete bridge deck remains in pretty good shape, the supports going into the water are very much corroded, and this bridge is definitely on borrowed time, so I thought it's very important we get a look at it now while we still can. Unfortunately, the trackage beyond here leading into Needham was very rarely photographed, and I'm not sure if any video of it honestly exists at all. Fortunately though, thanks to Arthur Purchase, there is video of trains going across this bridge. Although the water was a bit higher during my visit, when the water is lower here, it's much easier to see how bad the corrosion actually is on these bridge supports. Some of them are basically completely rotted through at the bottom. And for one last look back in time, here we see a Bay Colony train leaving the Needham Industrial Park and entering Newton Upper Falls. I feel like there was a lot of potential in the Needham Industrial Park, and a lot of that was probably lost when Conrail decided that they were going to sub-line to Bay Colony, but keep Coca-Cola for themselves. But we'll talk about that a little bit more in the next episode. When we return next time, we're going to continue into the Needham Industrial Park, and we're going to take a look at the remaining trackage before wrapping up this section of the railroad. Although much of the area has been redeveloped beyond here, there is still a lot to see. Some of it's hidden and you just gotta know where to look. Before we end the video, I just want to say thank you guys that have joined me on this adventure. It's been a lot of fun so far, and I look forward to exploring many more places with you guys in the future. After exploring the industrial park, we will be returning to Medfield Junction and continuing to Millis and beyond. If you enjoyed today's video, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you don't miss any future videos. Also, feel free to drop a comment below. I enjoy hearing about all your memories, experiences, and opinions on the railroad. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.